Hello, Living in Boulder vlog with Kyle Pounds for June 13th, 2019, Thursday. Now it is June 14th, 2019, Friday at 8:54 a.m. So, yesterday when I did my video, I think it was like 5 or 6 in the morning. And I was working all day the day before on my Google Earthing of Atlantis, and I did the boats. I was finishing up with the boats. Everybody knows about Atlantis, the 3 rings of water. I did first ring and second ring, pasting images of triremes, ancient Egypt, Greek triremes, 37 meters long. And then I got to the last ring, and I was doing the inward facing ones, and I got maybe half a way through, can't remember. And then I burnt out on decided to do the roads of the actual city outside of the water rings. The city has a diameter of like 18 kilometers. Oh shit, that's a long. Yeah, I didn't figure out exactly how much. I want to go and do that. But yeah, it's like 20 kilometers, I think, in diameter, which is the same as an entire kingdom, the entire kingdom of Rome, like under Romulus. I didn't realize it was that big. Atlantis was big-o. Jeepers. I mean, there are cities today that are bigger, but I want to superimpose it inside of cities. That would be balls. I'll do that as soon as I'm done. I saw this video that this kid did. I can't remember who, a few months ago, and he's like, yo, I think that Atlantis was in that Moroccan volcano, because it's circular, and you see circular rings, brah. And he's like, yeah, and I checked the size, and it's the same size. And so I sized this image that I got of Atlantis that had the water and the outer ring, and put it on top of that volcano, and the entire rings was fit completely inside the innermost part of that volcano, so there was no distinction. And then, yeah, like the outer ring, the outer wall, more or less, lined up with kind of the outer wall of the volcano, but it looked like a volcano to me. It didn't look like that was because of the rings of Atlantis. Yeah, I want to check out how big it is. But okay, so let me tell you how I designed Atlantis. The creating of Atlantis on Google Earth follows 3. Jeepers, man. Well, I hope they're done with that soon. He's taking out the recycling. It's 3 segments. One segment is the ring city, the center of the city, the rings. Second is the bulk of the city up to the wall. And then the third segment is the country itself. And they all have detail. The country is an 1,850 kilometer long, 185 meter wide and deep, I think, canal that winded all over the southern part of the island, which is submerged south of Andros, and before passing through the city of Atlantis and then out into the ocean. So the water came in one side of Atlantis, went straight through, circled around the circles, and then popped out. So it kept the water fresh, and made it easy to carry timber from the mountains down to the city, because the water would push it. And then there's 60,000 lots on that part of the island outside the wall of the city that are 1.85 meters each way. So, and I think it was divided up into 10 states. And so I think I'll do that part last, but then there's the part that everybody knows is the water. And yeah, that's going to be interesting to do with detail. But what I was doing yesterday was the city, the bulk of the city, which is open to the most interpretation, because he didn't describe that at all. All he said was that there were bridges that I remember. I'll have to listen to it a bunch of times. But there were bridges that went over, like as the city, as the streets went around, the bridges went over the canal and all the streets because the walls were built up above it. So and that's how I have it. So let me tell you how I designed the body of the city of Atlantis. So I saw drawings of it, paintings of it, and they had lots of bridges going over the water to the center. And I'm only going to have two bridges, and I'm going to have the rest of it water, because I'm going to assume that it was, they wanted the water open just for it was cheaper and it was more beautiful and more secure. And so I'll just have the bridge where people got there, maybe extra wide bridges, but on the either side of the canal as the canal came in. Or maybe I'll have bridges coming like from four corners from the four sides. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so and then I have roads on either side of the canal. Yeah, I have to create two more. I still need to create the canal coming off the backside where the water comes in. But I have roads. I have it right now, but I think if I had more, it'll be 74. But I have 72 roads that radiate out, 72 spokes. And the way that I decided on that was I just got my circle tool on Google Earth, and I dragged it out to the edge and where the wall is, and that's just how many angles there were on it. When you drag out the circle, it makes a perfect circle. But when you zoom in, it's not perfect circle. It's like a little straight line, and then it turns into an angle. And so I was like, okay, we'll do that then, And so I made those, and then I drew a line from the angle to the center, and it made this beautiful like wheel with 72 spokes. And I used it two cubits between the circles that go out. So 2 cubits, not 2 cubits, 2 stadia, which is 370 meters. And the city block right next to my house, so I guess the standard city block, 400 meters by 400 meters. So 370 meters is damn close to 400 meters. So that's very similar to the real world. So I'm duplicating a city with city blocks just as big as real world city blocks. And I made the width of the roads 15 meters, because that's the width of the road outside my house. It's a 4-lane road with bike paths on either side. So I think like sidewalk to sidewalk was 15 meters. So I didn't want to make it too wide, because back in those days they didn't have such totally wide roads, because they were on like carriages and stuff. So I made and so so when you radiate it out every 370 meters, every 2 stadia, which is the same width as the inner moat and the land next to it. It goes. The island is 5 stadia, first moat 1 stadia, first ring out 2 stadia, second water 2 stadia, third ring, outer ring 3 stadia, outer wall 3 stadia. So after that, every block 2 stadia, which is 370 meters, which is close to 400 meters, like a real city block. And if you look at the width of the blocks, as you begin to radiate out from the water, the blocks are a rectangle. But as you get to the end, it's pretty much the same shape of rectangle, but at a different angle. So it's beautifully symmetrical. And they're more or less the same. Like when you go halfway out, it's like a perfect square. So it averages like 370 meters. So it's like a real, live, modern city block that I recreated. So it's probably about as big as a modern day big city. So something that you could easily wrap your head around, something that a lot of people in the world, the size of a city that a lot of people in the world already live in. So as I was looking at this city, creating Atlantis on Google Earth, I'm going, I can't believe this is an actual city. Like, this is real. This has really existed. Because if I were to design a city, or I think if anybody were to design like the utopian city, they'd design frickin' Atlantis. I don't know why there's any cities that are that aren't circular. You see these designs of these concept cities where people want to start making cities from scratch that are all built with high tech materials, you know, like Wi Fi and electricity throughout, and just perfectly designed where the houses can't see each other because they're blocked by strategically by trees and high rise aquaponics and all that kind of stuff and water and rings. They're basically designing like and Atlantis cities, and you know, I've seen on Google Earth a lot of neighborhoods that are circular, but they're not complete. It's like 3/4 of a circle. But I think an Atlantis designed circular city would be the most amazing experience to live in and to visit, because it has so many navigational and feng shui advantages over an average grid city. For example, I have the Great Pyramid of Giza in the smack dab in the center of the center island of my city. Well, that means you can see physically with your eyes. You can see the center of the city. You could see the pyramid off 9 kilometers away, 6 miles away, from any point in the freaking city, right? Because in the city you live in, and the two roads you have, you know, your avenue and your street. Well, if you go to the avenue, what happens if you go down that way? You'll eventually end up where you are. So there's like no way you can get lost. You know, it's like, oh, where am I going? I forgot why I'm in my car. What am I doing? I'm lost. Just keep driving and you'll end up where you started. Amazing. Just takes you in a circle. And if you go on the other road, if you go one way, it'll take you beeline you right out of the city, to the edge of the city. And if you go the other way, it'll take you directly to the center of the city. It couldn't get any more simple than that. If somebody gives you their address, they'd be like, yeah, I'm in the corner of G29, because the way that my city ended up is that it had 72 roads, 72 spoke roads, radiating roads. And that was before I made the two roads on either side of it. I didn't make the canal on the other backside. So I guess 74. So it's like 2/3 or 3/4. And the circles just so happened, you know, choosing two stadia, 370 meters, almost like a normal city block of 400 meters, out to the prescribed 9.24 kilometers. That gives you 26 rings. That's the alphabet. So you can, with my Google Earth of Atlantis, I can make the rings letters, A through Z, and I can make the radiators 74, which is like almost 75. It's like a 3/4. So I think that's so amazingly symmetrical. And then there's the wall. So it's the 70. It's the alphabet roads, and then there's the ring road, which is wider, because then it ended. If you wanted to make the next block, like the final block, I think actually the Z, maybe it was the Z, but it actually is longer. It's like the perineum of the walls of ancient Rome. You know, they'd always give you space right on the inside of the wall where you wouldn't build. And so the road, I didn't measure it yet, but it appears to be maybe 60 meters or something, 50 meters. So that's cool. Like, you know, like there's this outer ring wall that's as wide as the racetrack of the second island in Atlantis. So, and then there's the wall, which I made at one stadia, 185 meters. No, I'm sorry, 15 meters wide. So it's like a road that goes around on the top of the wall. So, yeah, So the progress that I made on that so far was, creating the lines for the circles and the spokes, and then I made the roads. I'm working on the circles now. I think I'm halfway through, and then which is the more time consuming than the spokes. Then I'll do the spokes, even though there's 74 of them. Well, then I'll do the other side of the I should do that now because I keep forgetting the canal that goes out. But 50 stadia long canal, 9.24 kilometers. But yeah, and then so I'll definitely do that. Maybe even today. I yesterday I was working till like noon, and then I got up at like a 7, so I was pretty much asleep all the bulk of the day. But then I've been working since then. I was supposed to take care of my mom's cat, but I went over there and he didn't show up. So then I went back and I hung out and he didn't show up. So I didn't let him in. Her other friend was supposed to let him out. So he'll go this morning to let him out and see that he's already out, I guess. Let him in and have some food or something. But anyway, yeah, so today maybe I can finish building the roads. And yeah, and then I decided on the outside, the outer ring of the outer wall, water moat, I'm not going to have that as trireme boats. I'll have the triremes on the two inner rings and then facing in on the outer ring. But facing out on the outer ring, I'm going to have that filled with Noah's Arks. If you have the Noah's Ark going in on the canal that goes in, they can pass each other. It's like the perfect size, one going one going the other. And so I'll have them facing out because it's like they're doing trade and they're feeding the bulk of the city, which is out in that direction. So, yeah, and just see how many of those are. So, and I have a few other boats too in there just to compare sizes. But, yeah, man, it'll be amazing. I should do a YouTube video of it, giving it a tour. I want to make various Atlantis triathlons. One of the circles that goes around is exactly like the one, the first island, the first ring is exactly on the inside of it. It is exactly 4 kilometers, which is a race distance on bikes and also your standard city-state circumference. That's what it is for Mantinea, 3.97. If you look at the wall of Mantinea, the best preserved wall of ancient Greece. And then one of the rings is 40 kilometers, which is the standard hour-long 40-kilometer time trial level on my Bike Restore Levels page. So it's just really, and the outer one's like 76 kilometers. So you could do like an Ironman triathlon inside of the city of Atlantis. Just so, yeah. But I'd like to invite other people to do a video of it, a tour of Atlantis on my model of Google Earth Atlantis, because I don't know when I'll get around to do it. I don't really have the motivation. I just want to finish my project, but it would be an amazing. And so the way that I want to design it, like if it, I figured if it had 1,000 triremes and 200 people per trireme, that's 50,000, 200,000 like people you could put on the triremes, like if they went off to war. I wanted to make the people in the city match the triremes, make it all symmetrical. So that means that if 1/5, and that's kind of like a regular stat that you use, I think. If 1/5 of the population is war worthy, so that would then be that 200,000 people in the triremes, then that means you'd want the city to be 1 million. And, Rome was 1 million. It was a lot smaller than that is. So, but I'll make it like a combo, like a modern city combo between houses, maybe the same proportion as Rome, because I do know the proportions between houses and apartments. And so but it'll be a good batch paste of all the buildings, because I can make like templates of just business buildings, high schools, and apartment buildings per block, and then I just copy it and I can paste it on all those blocks because it's so symmetrical. All the blocks are the same size, so you go to like block, as you go around. So you paste it around, then you trace it around, and that way you could trace all the buildings for the entire city in a reasonable time frame. So, and make it like whatever population you need it, and that'll, of course, when you look at it, give you a really good idea of exactly what it looked like, exactly how big it was, because you're looking at the blocks, which go roughly 400 by 400 meters, the same size as a modern city block. You know, so you could like superimpose it on top of a modern city or town and actually see and be like, okay, picture Atlantis. It'll make people, I guarantee you, it'll make people want to build Atlantis, just like how I have it built on Google Earth. Like, you know, once they terraform Australia, they'll plump some Atlanti down there in the desert. Or, you know, that would be an amazing place to just feng shui. I mean, the psychological effect that would have on people, where, I don't know, it seems like it's just a really good sense of community when it'll makes a really big city seem small when you can always see. You just go down the corner and there's the center of the city, no matter where you are, and it's just so simple to navigate around, and you know, like it's simple to, like, I mean, talk about designing a place with easy for self-driving cars to program. That would be so easy, you know. You just go. It's just two directions to anywhere. You go straight and then right and you go down and you're there. Or if you want to go on a bike ride, if you want to go on a 40-kilometer or a 75-kilometer bike ride, you just go outside your road and you just get on the right side of the road and you ride until you get back to your house. An amazing experience. So, yeah, but I think this is going to be a 2-week project. I think I started on Tuesday, so, you know, if I almost 2 weeks, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, that'll definitely be worth it to me, that much time. But if I can do it in that, I'll be happy. And then I'll have it available for download on my website on the Atlantis part of my timeline. Just go to my timeline and click back in time until you get to 10,000 BC Atlantis Falls. I think the link is not working though, so I'll have to fix the link first. So that's what I'm up to on YouTube. I'm listening to a lot of just new stuff, just exploring, listening to new kind of videos I'm not used to, like people talking about being successful and making money, like internet marketing and internet writing, and then doctors talking about olive oil, and then the dude talking about the Nibiru, and yeah, I was even listening to some stuff on my researching for what's the size of Noah's Ark and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so anyways, that's enough talking. I think I'm going to work some more now. I'm not getting tired yet. And then yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Hopefully I'll be done drawing in all the roads. And then maybe even if they'll be working on the boats or being done, I don't know. So yeah, trucking along. All right, talk to you tomorrow.